Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture 4 of week 11 where we had been discussing about various metrics associated with the digital space. In today's topic, we will try to look into some of the important metrics associated with the online domain, online space as well as web analytics. So, let us dive more into the various metrics associated with the digital platform or digital space as a whole. The first metric that we will start with is called the visits. What does it mean? Visits mean how many number of time a particular platform is being visited. The platform can be a website, the platform can be a mobile applications. As far as construction of this metric is concerned, it represents the number of times that visitors come to a particular website. A visitor, let's say one visitor is coming to a website 5 times, right? So, that is a visit. So, consideration, it is by measuring this visit relative to the page views, marketers can determine whether the viewers are investigating multiple pages on the website or not. Remember, we also discussed about another metric called page views. Page views basically represent how many times a particular page is being loaded on the browser from the server. Now, visit is slightly different. In a way, we can say that visit is a subset of the page views. It should be, smaller than equal to page views. So, we will not count all the, if in the same, from the same location in the same session, the one page is viewed multiple times. So, it will be counted on page views, but not on the visits. Purpose of this particular metric is to measure the audience traffic on a website. So, how many, it is not about how many times the page is being loaded, rather from how many places the particular page is being viewed, right. Then comes visitors. Visitor is again another level of granularity after visits. As far as the construction of the visitor metric is concerned, it represents the number of unique website visitors in a given period of time, right. Now, we are talking about unique visitors, fine. So, as far as the consideration of this particular metric is concerned, it is useful in determining the type of traffic generated by a website, whether the traffic is created because of a few loyal adherents or many occasional visitors. So, rather than looking into the load, we are looking into the reach, whether the traffic is generated because of multiple people situated at multiple locations, or it is because of the load that is generated from one location. The purpose is to measure the reach of the website, how many unique visitors are there. So, if we can find that number of visitors are high, that means we can fairly say that more number of people are aware about our product, about our website, okay. But the same is not reflected in page views. Next important metric, something called abandonment rate. Abandonment means basically people who are escaping. As far as construction of this metric is concerned, the rate of purchases started but not completed. We can see that many a times we used to put multiple items, multiple product in the e-commerce sites, in the cart of the e-commerce site. But if there is a payment failure, if let us say there is a hidden charge associated, we thought that price of the product is this much, but at the last phase there is a hidden charge which was not clearly declared to me while I was navigating through the product. Then in that case I might get dissatisfied, or if there is a payment failure, then in that case I might get frustrated. So, due to these reasons, putting something on the cart does not necessarily lead to actual purchase. So, this can be captured with this metric called the abandonment rate. How many people, how many potential customers have abandoned or escaped in the last phase, in the last mile. Consideration, it can warn of weak design in an e-commerce site by measuring the number of potential customers who lose patience with a transaction process or are surprised and put off by the hidden cost revealed towards the conclusion. It is because of customers' frustration or customers' dissatisfaction which is attributed by either hidden cost or some failure in the overall design, overall performance of that particular purchase page. The purpose of this metric is to measure one element of the close rate of an internet business. Whether even if we are doing everything in a right way, everything in a perfect way, but if there is a problem exists at the last mile, at the last let us say checkout, then in that case we may lose a lot of sale. It may lead to customers dissatisfaction, it may lead to customers frustration. That is why we need to look into abandonment rate. If the abandonment rate is higher, then in that case we need to look into the underlying reason behind this abandonment rate. It can be because of, let us say, we have to find it out somehow, maybe with a market survey or something else, some other tool, but we have to find it out and rectify it so that we are not losing on the opportunity of the business. As we have already discussed, this particular metric measures the percentage of carts that were abandoned before the final completion, the percentage of shopping carts that are being abandoned. So, numerically or formula wise it is carts not completed, number of carts which are not completed divided by customers baskets initiated, means number of carts not completed plus number of carts being completed. So, that particular fraction, that particular percentage is called abandonment rate. A high abandonment rate is a reflection of probably poor website design or probably some hidden cost associated in the purchase process. So, that needs to be identified and addressed properly in a very judicious way. Now, let us try to look into the granularity level of various metrics that we have discussed till now. Visits, visitors and abandonment rate. So, if we try to look at various metrics associated with the digital space, we discussed about hits, we discussed about page views. So, hits are basically, it represents the number of times the files are being viewed. It is not just talking about the web pages, number of web pages being loaded. It is talking about the number of files being loaded. So, hits will be the highest number. So, it is more than the page views, because each of these pages will have minimum one file, and some of the pages will have more than one file. So, that is why the hits will be page views, number of page views multiplied by number of files in that particular page. So, that is why the value of hits will be greater than equal to the page views. Then in the next level, when we try to compare the page views with the visits, then in case of page views we are calculating the how many number of times a particular page is being loaded. We are not considering, we are not concerned about whether it is within the same session or different session. It is only about the number of loads. Then in case of visits, how many sessions? So, the same page is viewed twice from the same location, let us say within that given period of time. Then in that case only one instance will be counted. Then next comes the visitors. Visitors means multiple times the page is being viewed from the same IP address. Then in that case it will be counted just once. So, basically visitor gives you an idea about what is the level of reach, or let us say if visit is higher, visitor is lower, that gives you an interpretation like the same kind of people are visiting your website at different time zone, at different period of time, but they are the same people, they are sharing the same IP address. So basically visitor is extremely useful when you need to know the reachability of your website. Fine. So this particular figure that is displayed on the slide, it shows the relationship of the hits to the page views, to the visits and to the visitor. Basically we can overall conclude that visitor is a subset of visit, which is again a subset of page views, which is further a subset of the hits. So we can just internalize the concept with a instance. So there can be a possibility that only one visitor is there, only one person is there, and the same person has visited a news portal 3 times, let us say on Monday, on Tuesday and on Friday. In 3 instances I have visited the same website. Okay. Now when it comes to the page views, see, visitor is just 1, visit is 3. Now the page views, on Monday I have visited 10 news, on Tuesday I have visited 5 sports, and on Friday I have visited 5 business news. Okay. So number of page views in this instance will be 10 plus 5 plus 5, that is 20 page views, right. But in each of these pages there are multiple files associated. In each of these pages loaded, there are multiple files being loaded. So it can be a JavaScript file, it can be a server side scripting file, it can be a HTML file. So it can be anything, it can be any component which is a part of the page, right. So this 20 page views gives us total 200 hits. Now this hits is important from a technical perspective, because it helps you understanding the overall server load because of this views, right. So this 200 hit is not, it is not an important metric when it comes to marketing, but it is definitely an important metric when it comes to performance of the website, when it comes to evaluating the traffic tolerance of that particular website. Fine. Now let us look at this, a clickstream document. So there can be a welcome page, there can be a home page where you enter for the first time, right. Then it can go to some other features, it can go to some news. So if it is entering into the news, then you can go into the depth of the news, probably a sublink associated with the news. Then ultimately it can result in some sales, or I can view it in something like this. You have arrived at the home page, from the home page there is a information display, and once you click on more, you are being taken to a sign up page. Once you sign it up, then you are being taken to the purchase page or the checkout page. So this way the entire sequence of events work from the initiation of the promotion to the actual purchase. Now let us look into some of the important metric. We will start with this metric called bounce rate. This metric is already discussed in our some of our previous sessions, but I will try to reiterate this metric. Bounce rate means basically it is just the surrogate of the literal meaning of bounce. Basically a person has come somewhere and he has not spent much time, he has gone out of the place. So this is a kind of bounce. The construction of this particular metric, it is the fraction of website visitors who only view a single page. Just by visiting a single page, there is an exit taken place. The person, it reflects that the person is not interested in more information about the website, and that is why he has stopped interacting with the website just at the first place, that first web page that he has visited. As far as the consideration is concerned, this particular metric requires a clear definition of when a visit ends. Usually considers the bounce rate with respect to visits rather than the visitors, right? Because when we talk about the visitor, we are talking about the individual person. When we are talking about the visits, we are talking about the individual sessions, maybe of the same person. So that is why we concentrate on the, we take into consideration is the visit rather than the visitor. Purpose of this metric, it is often used as an indicator of the site's relevance and ability to generate the visitor interest. So if bounce rate is high from a particular page, then in that case we must interpret it this way, that there is some problem with this particular page. Maybe the user experience of that particular page is not good, or the information provided in that particular page is dull, or it is something, I mean, intimidating. So there can be multiple reasons. So whenever you are looking into this bounce rate, you need to look into from which particular page the bounce is occurring. I mean, if the bounce rate is significantly higher from a particular, from a given page, then you need to do something with the page, right? So that is why all this metric has its some critical insights that can be used for betterment of your business decision, for betterment of your business strategy. Okay, so let's look into this matrix formally. Bounce rate is a measure of the effectiveness of the website in encouraging visitors to continue their visit. It is expressed as a percentage and represents the proportion of the visits that end on the first page of the website that the visitor sees. Bounce rate equal to visits that access only a single page. Number of visits that access only a single page divided by total visits to the website, right? So it is that particular fraction. High bounce rates typically indicate that the website is not doing a good job of attracting the continuing interest of the visitor. So remember that once a person lands in a particular landing page of the website, it means the marketing campaign might have worked properly. But if there is a bounce from the website, there is some problem with the design of the website, there may be some problem with the layout of the website, there may be some problem associated with the ease of use of the website, there may be some problem with the information provided in the website. So multiple reasons, you need to look into it and rectify it. So this goes in similar line with that abandonment rate. So if abandonment is high, then in that case there must be some problem with the checkout page. If bounce rate is high, there is some problem with the website itself. If bounce rate is higher from a particular page, then there is a serious problem with that particular page. Now we will look into some of the very popular common metric that is used in social media. So we know, we have already heard, all of us have heard about these terms called friends, followers and supporters in case of social media. As far as the construction of these metrics are concerned, number of individuals joining a particular social network. Let us say I may have 3000 friends in Facebook, I may have 600 connections in LinkedIn. So this is called the friends. Then there is a possibility of follower. I may have a 10,000 followers in Facebook, I may have 5,000 followers in the LinkedIn. Supporters means basically people who are liking, who are encouraging, who are advocating a particular post. Fine. So supporters can also be, I mean, the like is an example of supporter matrix. When it comes to the consideration, success depends on the target group and social nature of the product. this metric is unlikely to reflect on the ultimate aim of a marketing campaign. So, rather it gives you some insights regarding the popularity of a particular profile or popularity of a particular post. As far as the purpose of this kind of metrics are concerned, they are used to measure the size of social network, but unlikely to measure any level of engagement. For example, I may have 5,000 friends in Facebook, but my engagement level with my friends or my engagement level in the social media is quite negligible. That is quite possible. So, it gives you something about the size of the social media network, the reach of the social media network, but it does not reflect anything on the kind of level of engagement. Then this matrix, which is very popular almost in all kind of social media, it is available, which is called likes. Basically, the number who have favored a particular post or who have favored a particular site or organization on the social media. I am sure all of you must be liking some of the social media pages from some of the organizations. It measures the engagement with the liked entity. It can be used to understand what post resonate more with the consumers. Fine. So, for example, there might be a lot of there may be thousands of likes for a particular topic, but for another topic which is dull, which may not be relevant, which may not be very much interesting for the audience, the likes may be much lesser. And this kind of this one, the content related to this likes can be text content, it can be image content, it can be video content, it can be an interactive kind of dashboard. It understands the relative popularity of the social media elements. So, though these particular metrics are very kind of simple and very much popular, you try to understand what is the insights that can be derived from this kind of metrics in our business dynamics. Okay. So, these are very simple metric that measures the number of individuals who join an organization's social network. So, I can formally define this metrics when it comes to friends. It is number of friends of the entity registered on that given social media platform or social media network. A high number of friends signifies an active interest in the owner of the page. If a brand has a high number of friends, this indicates a stronger brand with a loyal customer base. When it comes to likes, it is a similarly simple metric that measures the number of individuals who have favored a post, who has favored a page, who have favored a organization using the like button such as in Facebook. So, definition wise, number of individuals favoring a social networking post or page. Fine. So, let's quickly go through a situation study. The situation is the retailer wants to know whether its checkout flow is losing customers before purchase or not. So, basically this particular situation, by reading this situation only, we can reflect that we are looking into something called abandonment rate. Data from the chapter, there are 25,000 customers loaded items into their electronic baskets, but only 20,000 completed the purchase, only 20,000 checked out from this last mile. So, in step 1 we can look into carts not completed. So, cart that was initiated was 25,000 and not completed was 5,000. Abandonment rate, that is why abandonment rate will be 5,000, that is abandoned, number of people, number of users who have abandoned, divided by total number of people who has initiated, that is 5,000 by 25,000, that gives you a value of 20%. What is the interpretation now that we can draw from this particular situation? Because it is 20%, which is very high, a high abandonment rate can warn a weak e-commerce design when customers lose patience or get put off by the hidden cost revealed late in the process. So, let us say there is a hidden cost, and that is why we are seeing this high abandonment rate. Then in that case, what could have been a better proposition is that rather than putting this cost at the last page of checkout, it could have been clearly mentioned upfront during the initial phase of interaction. Then in that case the abandonment rate would have been much reduced and probably it would have resulted in more revenue and more profit for the organization, right. Similarly, there can be a problem, user easiness related problem, user experience related problem in the last mile. So, what is the managerial actions that can be taken? Use the click stream or the checkout step analysis to identify exactly where the sessions end and which step creates the friction. So, whether the friction is because of this, whether this turbulence is because of this hidden charge or because of this user experience. And once we can understand the underlying reasons for this turbulence, then we can fix and retest the system whether we have improved in terms of abandonment rate, whether the revenue of our organization has improved, whether the profitability of our organization has improved. So, that is it for today. I would like to conclude this class with a statement that online metrics do not just count activity, they reveal where customers drop off and what to fix to improve these results. Okay? I would like to see you in the next class. Thank you.